Let me throw a hypothetical at you. Let's say that you've picked up Smash Ultimate, started playing around with as many characters as you could, and after a fair share of wins and losses, you found yourself picking up one character that you use more than anyone else. This character, you decide, is going to be your main, and at first everything is perfect. You're winning games against players at your skill level, you're learning the strengths and weaknesses of your character, and you're actually beginning to feel like your main is a part of your identity as a Smash player. Stop me if any of this sounds familiar to you, by the way. Somewhere down the line though, you start to feel a disconnect. As you get better at Smash, and start battling against stronger and stronger opponents, you feel yourself stagnating, maybe even moving backwards. You're starting to lose more games, thinking to yourself, if only my main were better at this or that. You start looking at tier lists and seeing that your character is always lower than the ones you play against. Whereas before, you couldn't see yourself using any other character than your main. But now you're beginning to wonder if you made the wrong choice. This brings you to a pivotal question in your Smash journey. Should I change my main? Or should I stick with the one I have now? Just for some reference, let's look at some of the top pro players and see what they have to say. And for this video, I'm going to be focusing on two players in particular, Tweek and Raito. For those of you who don't know, these are easily two of the best Smash players in the world, with Tweek placing 2nd at EVO in 2019 and Raito placing 5th. Now, why would I be choosing them over, say, MK Leo, the best pro player in the world? Well, it really all comes down to their philosophy on choosing a main character. Tweek originally started out as a Bowser Jr. main, and he was widely considered to be the best Bowser Jr. player in the entire world. On February 28, 2016, however, Tweek announced that he was going to be dropping Bowser Jr. due to the fact that he didn't believe that Bowser Jr.'s meta was strong enough for him to win major tournaments. Now, Tweek is a professional Smash player. He makes his money by playing and placing in big tournaments, and in his opinion, Bowser Jr. was so bad that he wouldn't be able to beat other top Smash players by using that character. So, now he mains Wario, typically considered to be an S-tier character with a small frame, huge hitbox, and the ability to string along big combos. Now, for Bowser Jr. mains out there, you might be thinking, that's it, I guess that settles it. My character is inherently bad and will never be able to compete at a high level. Well, let me first start by saying that he dropped Bowser Jr. in Smash 4, and in Ultimate the characters are far more balanced. Except Little Mac. Good luck if you chose Little Mac. With that said though, let me bring up the other player and what he thinks about character selection. Raito is one of the best players in Japan and easily one of the best players in the entire world. He took one look at all the tier lists out there and laughed. With all the other top players choosing Zero Suit Samus, Joker, Pikachu, Raito decided to go against the grain and pick up freaking Duck Hunt. Usually, Duck Hunt is considered to be mid-tier at best, with no real overpowered moves to utilize at the high or low levels. Raito, however, uses that to his advantage. Since nobody is really using Duck Hunt, not many players know what to do against it. Whereas most Smash players spend hours battling against Mario, Wolf, or Snake mains, they'll spend minutes at most battling against Duck Hunt mains. And he uses that to his advantage. By using a character that nobody uses, he can be sure that he knows the matchup better than his opponent, completely catching them off guard by stringing together big combos and using 3 different projectiles at his disposal. So, to sum up a little bit, when it comes down to which characters will help you win more, there is no hard and true steadfast answer. Some players decide to pick a main with great frame data who are pretty easy to use, whereas others pick one who they believe fit best with their own playstyle, regardless of what tier lists say. Plenty of Smash players use S-tier characters, but plenty don't. If that doesn't help though, let me tell you about my own personal journey. For those of you who haven't seen my video on how I chose my main, I follow a specific philosophy that I live and die by. You don't choose your main chooses you. That's how I ended up maining Robin, another character who is typically seen as mid-tier at best. At first, I couldn't see myself using anyone but her. She played to all of my strengths, and since there were so few people that used her as their main, it meant that I knew the matchup better than my opponent most of the time. I was winning games and having fun, the perfect formula to have when playing Smash Ultimate, but I'm pretty sure you can see where I'm going with this. Eventually, I stopped winning. I was now starting to take Smash a little more seriously and started playing against harder and harder opponents. Suddenly, all that fun I was having was turning into frustration as I looked at how easily Mario players could get one forward air and send me into the blast zone. I was starting to get angry at Robin from a meta standpoint, complaining about how I wish she didn't have this weakness or that weakness. That's when I ran into the problem that all mid-tier mains run into at one point or another. Is it my main? Or is it just me? Would I win more if I changed to a character that didn't fit my playstyle, but was typically seen as a top tier? Or should I stay loyal to the character who had chosen me? As I struggled with this decision, however, something happened.
Join Smash Brothers already! What in the world are you waiting for?
When Byleth was first introduced, I was one of the few people who was utterly, unequivocally excited to see her join the team. The first thing that I thought when I saw that this was announced was, maybe this character could be a good secondary to complement Robin. I said it half jokingly just because despite the struggles I was having, I still had two secondaries that I held in very high regards, and there was very little doubt in my mind that anyone could end up replacing them. The minute she was released though, I immediately booted up my Switch and did what everyone else was doing online, playing around with a flashy new character. Also, just as a side note, like my Robin video, I'm going to be using the feminine pronoun to describe Byleth just because, you know, Black Eagles for life and all. Please don't dislike. Of course, since literally everyone and their dog was playing Byleth, my win rate had mixed results. I started out doing free-for-all just so I could have fun and experiment without being too serious. And then once the hype gradually began to die down and people started going back to their mains, I started returning to more and more 1v1 matches. At this point, my winning percentage once again began to drop. Suddenly I was playing against people who knew how to use their characters again, and like before, I found myself losing close games. I was playing against people that made me so mad, like no matter what I did against them, I just couldn't figure out any way to beat them. Then when I went back to the character select screen, I saw that I still had Byleth picked out and thought, do I want to switch back to Robin? And the answer was abundantly clear. No. Then it hit me like a freaking truck. Robin wasn't my main anymore. I wasn't using Byleth because she was the fun new character anymore. I was using her because I honestly believed that I could win more games using her than any other character in the game. And even though she was still new, people I battled against had played against Byleth a million times by now. They now had a better understanding on how to play against Byleth than they did against Robin, which meant that from a matchup perspective, Robin still had the advantage. But I just couldn't stop using her. I didn't make the choice to make Byleth my main, she chose me. And those games that I suddenly couldn't win while using Robin started to gradually get easier. Even though I had spent the majority of my time playing Smash Ultimate by catering to Robin's strengths and move pool, I found myself immediately adapting to Byleth's kit, using Arid Bar to keep a good distance between me and my opponent and fail not to mix things up. Plus, nothing beats the feeling when you use a mirror and hit the opponent at just the right moment. That being said, I still hold a very dear place in my heart for Robin. She has now become a very good secondary, and I play Squad Strike whenever I can, just so that I can have more opportunities to use her. One more quick side note, if you're a tournament organizer, do more Squad Strikes. I want to actually use Gold Team for more than just music videos. So now let's get back to you. Should you change your main? To answer that, you have to really decide what your goals are in the first place. Are you looking to be the best player in the world? Or are you looking to be the best in a more niche setting? I know some people use Sonic whose primary goal is to be the best Sonic player in their area, then they may want to be the best Sonic player in their state, then the best Sonic player in the super region, and on until maybe one day they're so good with Sonic that they become speed itself. I don't know why I left that in there. One last thing to remember, Tweek was the best Bowser Jr. player in the entire world before he decided to drop him. You don't main your character for no reason. Your main chose you. And if you decide to switch to a top tier character because you believe it'll help you win more games, the answer is maybe, but probably not. More often than not, the reason people lose is because their opponent is either better at fundamentals, adaptation, or they just plain have more experience with that specific matchup. Don't change your main just because it's not a high tier, but also don't carry so much loyalty for your character that you aren't open-minded enough to change your mind later. The only way to get better at the game is by playing it, and even though your character has weaknesses, you'll learn to overcome them. Don't get discouraged. You'll get there eventually. Whoever your main is, I already know you made the right choice. Unless you main Lucas.